The Sports Scouting Report with Lee Brecheen. Brought to you by Medine's Collision Center in Baton Rouge. Take control, choose Medine's. Grosse Savant Lodge, south of Lake Charles, the true sportsman's paradise. Treads and Care Company in Central, the tires you need, the service you want. Harvey Auto in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you have trusted for years. And Gage in Baton Rouge. Get better connected with Gage. Here's your host, Lee Brecheen.
Hi everyone, I'm Lee Brecheen, host of the Sports Scouting Report. Hope you enjoy the shows that we do every week. I want to mention that we've got great guests today. Avoyelles High School, their head coach Andy Boone is joining us. He's going into over 14 years at the school as head coach. They run the most interesting offense in the state. His top recruit, one of his top kids over the last 15 years, been starting since his 8th grade season. Carlos Bazert is a running back, 6'1", 250, 255, and carries it well. Great running back. And we want to also recognize, before we go to a break, our hotel Marriott that does a great job on College Drive. Thank you, Ralph Ney. And also Superior Grill in South Louisiana and New Orleans, Highland Road and Government Street. We'll be back with much more. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, go see Medine's Collision Center located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors.
Welcome back. I'm Lee Brecheen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report. Be sure to check out our website, lafootballmagazine.com. We do stories on recruits every week all over the state. We can't get all of them done in one week, so we take turns with different cities. We'll go to like Alexandria area, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Shreveport, Lake Charles, you name it, all over the state. But we do 3 to 4 a week, and by the time January comes around, we've done over 500 stories on recruits. And our preview magazine will be out late August. But I want to mention and introduce our next guest, who's one of the top recruits in the state that a lot of people don't know about. If you're not from Avoyelles High School, or you're not from Alexandria, you're not from Cenla, but people in Lafayette might not know, or Baton Rouge, New Orleans, or Shreveport, or some people in Monroe know. But there's a big-time running back who's a class of 223. He's 6'2", 250. I don't know if a hamburger tomorrow or today, 255, but he runs like he's 180. I want to introduce upcoming senior, Avoyelles High School, Carlos Bazert. How you doing, man?
Good. Nice to meet y'all. Thanks for having me.
And I keep messing up the pronouncing of your name. Say it.
Bazert.
Bazert. And junior. You're a junior.
Yes, sir.
I heard your daddy was a heck of a player back in the day.
Yeah, it's very, very fast and strong. So
who was better at this stage? Who was bigger?
I don't know. Right now, I have more yards than him. So stats say a lot.
Now, you've been starting at Avoyelles High School since 8th grade.
Yes, sir.
So, Carlos, this is going to be your 5th year on varsity. Not JV, not freshman team, but varsity. What's it like going 5 years? I mean, it's like you've been playing for a decade. We've been writing about you for 4 years.
It's been very fun playing for 5 years. So, 8th grade was kind of hard to, transition from, just being a 7th grade last year. I was recording for the team, so I was watching them play.
Okay.
And then just jumping into the varsity games. It was very hard to, transition, but I got through it.
Well, you remind me as like a Devin White, the unknown Devin White. He was at North Webster in the Shreveport area. And Devin's a lot shorter than you. Devin's 5'11". I think they list him 6 feet, but he's 250. You're 250, and you carry your weight like you're 205, 210. You look like a linebacker like Devin, but you run like a running back. and you're smooth in this great wing team offense that Coach has, where everybody's stacked in. I would hate to be a linebacker at 160 in Class 1A or 2A trying to tackle you. I would fear. I mean, I would be like, Coach, I got to tackle this guy. But your junior year, which amazed me, and we'll talk to Coach, but y'all had close to 6,000 rushing yards in 2021 as a team. That is incredible. You didn't play much last year, still had 900 yards in less than 4 games. In one game, Coach told me today, you ran for 400 yards against Kardell High School last year. At halftime, you had 300, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that game last year against Kardell of Monroe.
Well, we came into the game thinking that it was going to be very difficult. And, like, it was to a certain extent. But, like, it was like one of our plays just kept on clicking. So we just kept on running that play, and after that, I kept on breaking from that play, so it just kept on stacking up. Like we'd start from the 25 or something, and then I just break a big one for a touchdown, go on defense, come back on offense. It's like over and over again.
And you play linebacker and D-line, a little
Yeah.
up like a little DN spot, so you don't ever leave the game. And didn't you run for 400 in less than 4 quarters in that game?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I ran for 378.
College coaches, Carlos here is going to be a senior this coming year at Avoyelles High School. I would be sleeping in a tent outside the high school trying to sign you. And I saw you on film as a sophomore. You were pretty big then. You were over 6'1". You were over 230. And like I said, you can run. I mean, you can run probably, high 4.6 at 250.
I hope. We need to test that.
You need to test it. But you look like you're that fast on film, no. But tell everybody what you've learned from Coach Andy Boone, who's your head coach. And what about college? What do you think about college? Who did you grow up watching as a kid, college-wise?
Well, from Coach Boone, I learned toughness and being persistent at your goal. So, like in that offense, you can't just try to break for the big runs. You have to get the 3, the 4, and if it gets to a big run, then oh well. But you have to keep on working towards your goal. And like the person that I grew up watching was like Derrick Henry in college.
Oh yeah, big back.
Bo Scarborough.
All the big guys.
Yeah. I watched a lot of the big running backs. I liked LeGarrette Blount for some reason. He was big too.
Besides the one Oregon incident at halftime, he kind of went crazy on a ref. But with the Patriots, he's got 2 rings.
And then I liked Mike Allstott.
Man, you hit all the big timers. You know who Mike Allstott is? That's before you were born.
I know.
He was at Purdue, man, when I was like a teenager running the ball. 6'1", 250.
But he ran hard.
And they're all 250. Because you're 250. I mean, you like those big power guys at Slippery.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite out of Allstott, Henry, and Bo Scarborough? 2 of them went to Alabama. Derrick Henry was from Florida.
Derrick Henry. He got to be Derrick Henry.
And you know what you and him have in common?
What?
He went to a Class 1A school in Florida.
Yulee?
Did you look at it? Hey, man, you know that stuff. You know your stuff, man.
Yeah.
A 1A school in Florida. They thought he went to Escambia, where Emmitt Smith went, or American Heritage in Miami. No, he went to a 1A Yulee, which had I think 200 kids in the school. So y'all got a lot in common. So who did you grow up liking college-wise growing up? Did you have a couple of colleges you always liked to watch?
I always like to watch Alabama.
Okay.
Because my dad was a big Alabama fan, so he made me an Alabama fan. So that's the main one that I really used to watch. But I also liked watching LSU for the 2019 year. I ain't gonna say I'm a bandwagoner, but
Right.
I like the team. They were good.
You like
that
a little
year.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire from that year?
Yeah, I like Justin Jefferson. I like that group right
Jamar
there.
Chase.
Yeah, I like that group right there. But
They're owning the NFL, that group. Christian Fulton, Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Even Racy McMath, the backup receiver, plays for the Tennessee Titans. He didn't even start.
Crazy.
And they had a big back at one time. If I could think of one big back at LSU you would probably like that's kind of similar to your game is Jeremy Hill. Jeremy was 6'2", 245. And you run similar to Jeremy Hill at Redemptor's. But 900 yards in less than 4 games last year you were hurt.
Yes, sir.
Y'all had almost 6,000 yards rushing as an offense. What is your goal this year, Carlos, as a senior? I mean, this is going to be your 5th and final season. Y'all are so close. Y'all had some great seasons. And, I mean, due to maybe get to that state title game, huh?
Yep. My main goal is to get to state and win state. But my personal goals is to get at least 2,000 and like 20 touchdowns.
What if LSU called you after the season's over and you run for another 2,000 yards this year and you're in the Dome? Let's just say you're playing in I don't know where the game's going to be this year. Let's just say you're in the Superdome.
Yeah.
And you go crazy in the Superdome and run for 300 yards at half on a Manny or somebody like that, and LSU calls you and Coach Kelly says, "We want you." What would you say?
Come get me.
There you go. Man, good luck to you, Carlos.
Thank you.
I mean, you got a great future. If you see this kid, I mean, he's built like he's already been to the LSU weight room a couple of years. You know what I mean? I mean, you've got the build and you've got the effort. And tell everybody before we go, you not only have close to 10,000 yards rushing in your career and almost 100 touchdowns or over that. Tell them how many tackles you had, like you think you've had in your career as a linebacker.
Oh.
If you were guessing, like over 4 years.
Oh, no.
Safe to say 400 tackles?
I don't know about 400.
100 a year?
Because I don't really – it's like –
You play when they need you in spots?
Yeah, so it's probably around like at least like I want to say 40, 50.
Per year maybe?
That's not even per year.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like they call me when they need me to like make a play, and it's not really – I don't really have to go in because our defense usually hold themselves together. And whenever a player is out or something, I come in.
But if it's 3rd and 5 on the goal line, they want you to come in and stop it.
Or like 4th and 1.
Right. Get that guy. Get him down. Don't let him get a first down. But look, man, congratulations on 5 years coming up. How many kids do you hear start 5 years on varsity and dominate, and you don't even play full games? And you've had over almost 10,000 yards rushing in 4 years. Definitely will go past that this year. Good luck to you, Carlos. One of the top recruits in the state, a lot of people don't know about. If I'm Coach Kelly, like I said, I'm putting a tent outside of Avoyelles High School, and I'm having coffee with Andy Boone every morning. Speaking of Andy Boone, when we come back, Carlos's coach is going to join us. The head guy who has brought an offense to Louisiana for 14 years that people can't sleep at night trying to stop. We'll be right back.
Be sure to take your car and truck for all your tire needs to Treads and Care Tire Company located in Central. The number to call is 331-8144. Family owned and operated since 1971. That's Treads and Care Tire Company. Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours. Located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Welcome back. Lee Brecheen, your host. Before we get to Coach Boone, Andy Boone of Avoyelles High School, we're going to got some amazing stats to talk about. I want to share a throwback segment going way back. You know, when these guys, before they were famous, you know, some of these kids end up being great football players in the pros. Well, recently drafted Tyrion Davis Price, running back from Southern Lab, another big guy, was 220 pounds coming out of high school, 6'1". Check this out with Kardell Thomas, who's still got a year of eligibility at LSU. He's an O-lineman, 5th-year guy, who I think is still going to do well. Watch this segment with these two young men going way back on our TV show. Welcome back, Lee Brecheen, Louisiana Football TV magazine. Rowan Davey, what a great guy. Great talking stories about the Patriots, the Saints, you know, his days in Miami, being from Jamaica. Just a great guy. Glad that he's in Baton Rouge. And stayed here, didn't go back to Florida. But I want to introduce who I think, you know, a lot of people have written about these guys, but Tyrion Davis to my left. Ty, do you like being called Ty or Tyrion?
Ty, most people call me Ty.
I'll call you Ty.
Yes, sir.
And then to your left, Kardell Thomas, your bodyguard when you run the ball, right?
Yes, sir.
I've been watching you two for 4 years. Saw my first game, West St. John, on a Thursday night. Y'all were young guys, like, yeah. I think you were a sophomore, you were a sophomore. And that was the night West St. John had a quarterback go down. Right. Tough hit. And I'm there to watch this. I'm watching Chris Allen. I'm watching these other guys. I'm like, who are these two guys? Because y'all didn't really play a lot the year before. And I'm like, well, these guys are sophomores. I said, number 70. He looks like he's ready to play at LSU. And then, like, Ty looks like he's ready to play in SEC. And y'all have been able to get better every year. And y'all are both committed to LSU.
Yes, sir.
Ty, get your thoughts first, and then your buddy Kardell. But you're committed to LSU, and I know there are a lot of people in Baton Rouge that are glad that you are committed. And what was your reason to commit to LSU?
I mean, I grew up on LSU fan. You know, the atmosphere is great, the coaches, and just the fans. You know, no better fans in the world than LSU, and I knew that's where my heart at. You know, so I mean.
And you know, the game Saturday was one game. You know, LSU's got a chance to go 10-2, and they're a young team. What are you thinking when that game's over? You know, everybody's going, well, if a recruit sees that, but it's one game.
Nah, it's nothing but motivation, you know, to make me want to beat them even more, you know. No doubt in my mind, we're going to beat them every year when I get there.
Do you feel like you and Kardell are the missing links to help them be better?
Yeah, and a few other key players in that signing class.
Kardell, your thoughts? I mean, the other day they quoted you, and
right.
I think Baton Rouge got all excited. You were talking about you're not going to lose to them for 4 years. I thought, from your heart.
Right, it was. You know, me looking at, you know, I've been a recruit for 3 years, so we've been, you know, losing to them for 3 years, and you know, at some point, you know, I got in my mind like, we can't lose no more. So, you know, we're gonna recruit guys. You know, we're gonna come in and we're gonna make an impact. You know, I was on the phone with Marcel Brooks last night, and you know, we were just talking about, you know, it's superior athletes that we have to get, and superior athletes that's on the team. But you know, people have to get motivated, you know, to go be Bama. See us, you know, it's just like it's not the same level, but the Kenwood game, we know what kind of game that is. We know if your level not up here the whole time, then no matter wrong or good or bad, then it can go down.
And they had Alabama coaches at your game, huh? They just won't stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm watching. Look, I'll watch my game Friday night. I'm so crazy with high school football. I went home, I taped y'all's game, watched y'all's game till 1 in the morning. But by the way, I see a lot of improvement in the team.
Right.
Y'all been through a lot. Y'all had to change coaches in the middle of a season a year ago, and y'all kept it together, and that's impressive to me. Just being an outside guy, seeing y'all stick together as a team, right, Ty?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you know, just talk about how far the team's come from a year ago.
I mean, that period of time, it was tough for everyone, you know. Like, we were just getting ready to start our first game. We did pretty bad that first game. We didn't practice for like almost 2 weeks, you know. And it was just tough for everyone. You know, everyone was down. They didn't know what to do. We had to learn how to walk again. And it was tough for everyone, the staff. Whole school.
Watching recruiting, this is 30 years for me. I've seen everybody come out of Louisiana. I've seen a lot of them in person. Whoever's been in NFL, currently in NFL, and used to work for Nick Saban at LSU, did all their film work. DiNardo and Hallman, and a little bit in the beginning with Miles. When I see Kardell, I see Trey Turner, but more upside. Remember Trey Turner?
Right, yes, sir.
But I see Trey Turner just like Rowan said, when you get to LSU, if you just take that next step that's there, the facilities, the weight room, you'll be there. And then Ty, you remind me a lot of Jeremy Hill, but I think you got more power and I think you have better feet. You could be a Gurley. And Ty Gurley's one of my favorite backs in the NFL.
Yeah, me too.
But that next level, that weight room that LSU has, and all the resources, and I think you two guys are going to do great.
Thank you.
And it's really powerful to hear you say Marcel, because when you got a couple of guys helping recruiting and you land an extra 3 or 4 big-time players, that can make the difference in championships.
Exactly.
Kardell, what do you think about some of the guys that aren't committed, that are kind of on the fence? You think LSU will get some of these other guys?
Oh, yes, sir, most definitely. You know, like I said on Twitter, you know, don't commit here if you're not a savage. You know, you're not ready to come in, you know, ready to go, you know, to the wall, everything, you know, stand on 10, as I said, you know, and we got a lot of guys that want to commit for the wrong reasons. So, you know, like, personally, after the Alabama game, I didn't see anybody, you know, yelling at LSU like they were at first. But, you know, we still had some guys that were still on board. So, you know, them the guys we're trying to get. Like, you got to feel LSU in your heart. If you don't, then, you know, we don't need you here.
I remember, here's highlights, show, critique yourself here, Ty. But here's Ty, and then Kardell's obviously on O-line blocking. We're going to have Kardell's highlights. But, I mean, for a guy that's over 220, when you were young playing youth league football, did you always have really good feet? I mean, this looks like you've had this for a long time. Did you play basketball, any other sports?
I mean, I ran track, basketball, and I played football. I eventually had to stop, you know, because I started having some injury on my knees.
But you have that burst, which a lot of 220-pound kids don't have. And Kardell, you block for this friend of yours every game.
Yes, sir.
And you got to feel good when he gets 2 yards past the line. It's pretty much over with.
Right.
And you see him, you see Kardell. I mean, they're like twins. One's blocking and moving people, and the other one's making long runs. And where I think Ty was watching you the other night against Kentwood, you were running over people, breaking tackles. You know, you weren't just open field making long runs, and that's the stuff you're going to see in college. You're having to beat that corner outside. And Kardell, the ability to pull and get on second guys like this. I mean, what are you thinking, Kardell, when you make the first block? You thinking of that second guy already? You think I'm going to take out a second guy on this run?
Oh, yes, sir. But, you know, really I got to work on, you know, like looking the field. You know, sometimes when I pull, I might miss a couple of guys. I just got to work on breaking down. You know, a couple players not break down and I get them.
This is you right here catching the ball, man. What's going on?
Oh, you know, right there.
Was this called or was?
Oh, no, sir, right there. This is the truth. They sent a blitz. So I got one guy, and the other one I just threw kind of into the crowd, and my QB was going down. He just looked at me and threw the ball. So.
Y'all play some big teams. Y'all play U-High.
Yes,
you know, y'all play the Kentwoods. Y'all play, I mean, even non-district, y'all played East Feliciana and people. Y'all play big. I mean, it's not like you blocking 180-pound players. You blocking guys 250, 280, 300.
Right.
What do you think you want to work on the most? Because you could play tackle or guard, but definitely be a great guard at LSU.
Oh, I just probably say work on my awareness, you know, and I probably say, like, you know, giving more, like, you know, be more dominant. But, you know, these days in high school football, they trying to throw a flag everything. So,
right.
Yeah.
But here again, this is Kardell blocking. You know, I mean, just you get on top of guys, you slam them, you let them know you're there.
Right.
It's going to be a long night, right?
Yeah, you have to.
You don't just kind of push them. You take their spirit away, which that's very rare for a high school lineman.
Yes, sir.
What impressed me, guys, about the Kentwood game is that the game was close in the last few minutes, and y'all had to put those guys away. And y'all didn't really could throw the ball really well, but y'all blocked for the quarterback to get outside, run, get the first downs, and kill that clock.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it looked like you could feel we're going to end this game. We're going to put them away, right?
Yes, sir.
Because Kentwood's good.
Yeah, they are.
Big rivalry game for us.
I mean, Kendall Wilkerson, you were blocking him. He's a D1 prospect.
Yes, sir.
Their DBs all run 4.5. I mean, they're kind of a clone of Southern Lab in some spots.
Yeah, it was kind of like looking in the mirror a little bit.
Would they tell you anything after the game when it was over? Because, I mean, y'all physically put it on them.
I ain't going to lie, that game, it wasn't no friends. Like, we was doing our senior walk.
It was crazy.
We looked at them like, I told them this like this. Don't let the senior walk fool you, we coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Yeah, it was a high intensity game.
Even if Trey Palmer would have played, I think it'd have been the same.
Yeah, it was gonna blow
Nah,
him
like
out.
people say if he would have played. I mean, he's gonna be my future teammate, but he wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, the whole thing about it was we preached energy the whole week, and you know the atmosphere of the game was just crazy, and we fed off that. And the whole team, we stayed live the whole time, and we just preached good or bad, stay together, stay a team, and that's how we came out on top.
Well, I know you guys took a visit to Florida State. I've been there 2-3 times back when they had Deion Sanders and all that crew. That was a different time.
Yeah, it was.
But that game y'all went to, that was – I've never seen Florida State get beat like that.
Yeah.
And then their season, it's just a different time. But
Yeah.
it's crazy how college football, you never know year to year.
Right.
But Francois and them, I can't understand why they're not – I mean, they got some good players, but just can't put it together, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Look, guys, we're almost out of time. I appreciate you coming on, and good luck to you. I know, look, your careers are going to be great. Y'all mature young men. Y'all are leaders. And these young kids need to hear that from somebody, and that's what's going to make it great, I think, for LSU.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
man.
Hope you enjoyed the segment. We will be right back with Coach Andy Boone of Avoyelles High School.
Gage has served Louisiana for over 40 years. Let Gage create a custom-tailored solution for your business and become your partner in technology. Give them a call today at 225-753-4243 and help your business get better connected with Gage. Looking for a used car? Harvey Autos has 3 dealerships, which means 3 times the used vehicles. They've got everything from fuel-efficient compacts to luxury models, even hybrids, and certified pre-owned with a warranty. Check out John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, or Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report. You can watch the show on YouTube or where we get your podcasts, or tell your friends, family, teammates, or coaching friends, retired or current. We're going to get to Coach Andy Boone. I want to introduce Andy. Before we introduce him, I want to mention that he went to Oberlin High School back in the day as a graduate of Oberlin, and also has coached with several great coaches. And I want to mention 14 years at Avoyelles High School as the head coach. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I mean, Coach, it seems like 5 years, because you were on our TV show about 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago.
Yeah, 9 years ago.
And you came up, and when we were doing our show on Cox 4, your offense is incredible. We're going to get to that later in the show. We're going to get to coaches, players, but talk about your background, Oberlin High School, and good program. You coached with a lot of good coaches before you became a head coach. Talk about how that all evolved for you when you were an assistant.
Yeah, well, I graduated from Oberlin, went to McNeese, graduated from there, went to DeRidder High School.
Okay.
Coached under John Storr, Kinder, guy from Kinder. And I actually had one of my high school coaches that was there, Glenn Granger, who's been at Rose Pine coaching for a long time now, doing softball. But was there a year, went to Oakdale, and coached under Paul Trosclair. You know, had some really good teams there. He went on to Eunice, and you know what he did at Eunice.
Should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you know, if it wasn't for John Curtis, he'd have 3 titles. You know, but just always, he's really good at that wing tee, that Delaware wing tee. He's knows it in and out. Good guy. But I was there for a few years, about 7 or 8 years. I actually got out of coaching a little while when my kids were young, so I could coach them in t-ball and pee-wee football. I did that for years. Got back into coaching, was at a little school in Pineville, Sinlaw Christian, and actually went to Avoyelles as an assistant.
I forgot it's Sinlaw.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I was there 1 year, and I had 18 kids playing.
I remember that.
Went to Avoyelles High as assistant. The head coach quit 2 weeks before the season started. And I kind of got the job by like, hey, nobody else wanted it. And it's kind of, you know, ever since, it was a blessing, you know, going there. And I've been there ever since. And, you know, it's been fun, you know.
You told me, Coach, your offense is very unique. You told me you kind of learned or kind of took it from a team out of state. And then you kind of sharpened it with your pencil after. Tell everybody how Coach runs the most interesting offense you're going to see in Louisiana football.
Well, I got it from a guy out of Oregon, and he was selling these CDs on the internet, and I saw it and I said, you know what, nobody else is going to do this, so let's do it. And then I've taken it over the years and just kind of took some things out, added some things, and it's definitely mine now. I have a son that coaches with me, and we're always working on it. But our philosophy is this: we have 4 downs to get 10 yards, and that's our philosophy. And
you don't punt.
We haven't punted in 12 years. We don't practice punting. We don't have a punter. If you don't practice it, it's not a big deal because you can't do it anyway.
Yeah.
4th and 30, 4th and 3. It's the same.
You're going.
We're
4
going
downs.
for it. So,
you're like Canadian Football League in a way.
Yeah, we just look. We think it puts other teams. It puts a lot of pressure on them. They change the way they play when they play us because they will start onside kick and they won't punt. They kind of do the same thing, and they have to prepare. So they have to prepare for onside kicks, which takes out their practice time. What we do on offense, you can't do. You can't do it.
You can't mimic.
You can't mimic it in practice. So it's tough to prepare for. And like I said, you can ask Carlos. We can get 3 yards every play. And it wears on the other team. Yeah.
When you watch Avoyelles, we're going to show some film. Jace is going to get some stock footage of your star running back Carlos that we're going to talk about. But it's really crazy to see you guys get so tight.
Or foot to foot, no split.
It's different than regular wing T. Yeah. It's everybody on defense has to just like pile in.
Right.
And if you screw up left or you screw up right, your guy's gone for 50, 60 yards.
Well, it's one of these things that it's frustrating for other teams because they think they did a good play when they stop us for a 3 or 4 yard gain. Hey, we want the 3 or 4 yard gain.
Right.
So all of a sudden they got us in 4th and 1. Well, we're not punting. So you do that over and over. It's very demoralizing to the other team. And eventually somebody's going to miss an assignment or get just a little bit the wrong leverage, and we're going to pop long ones. And we find 1 or 2 plays. Look, we may run a whole game where we run 4 plays.
That's
we just
what I was
run
going to
the same 4 or 5 plays over and over and over. And then every now and then, once or twice a game, we'll throw a little pass and it's wide open. So it's tough for the other team. It's tough to practice because the kids on our team get beat to death, so we can't go full speed in practice a lot because we don't want the kids quitting.
You won't have a defense.
No, we won't have a defense.
Coach, what do you call it? It's not traditional wing T. You call it what?
No, it's double tight, double wing. It's foot to foot, no splits. The fullback's up tight. The fullback's hidden. And now I've added and switched a few things in it, but it's double tight. There's no splits where our feet are touching.
You ever do the fumblerooski or just like the ball?
Well, that's illegal now.
Is it?
Oh, yes, it's illegal. Look, we don't have a whole lot of trick plays because we don't need them. Look.
You hiding it already.
Yeah, it's where we're at. If you ever come to our stadium, the lights aren't very good. And we're wearing those dark uniforms. It's hard for them to find.
And when you got those 2 tight ends tight sideways, you're hiding both left and right side of what's going on with that ball.
Right. It's tough to find the football. Our running backs have to carry out their fakes, and it's a very unique offense. A lot of times our fans don't like it. They want you to throw the ball. Everybody sees the spread, and everybody wants that pretty stuff. But look, we just gonna pound people.
Well, I want to mention this before we go to break, and we're gonna talk about it when we come back. Avoyelles High School, Coach told us today, they had almost 6,000 yards rushing in 2021. I said 6,000 yards rushing. Think about that. Digest that for a bit. I know 5 high schools in Baton Rouge that didn't combine for 6,000 yards rushing last year. We're going to take a break. We're going to have more with Coach Andy Boone of Avoyelles High School. We'll be right back.
If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, you've got to go to Medines Collision Center located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Family owned since the 1960s. Be sure to take your car and truck for all your tire needs to Treads & Care Tire Company located in Central. Call 331-8144. Family owned and operated since 1971. That's 331-8144.
Welcome back. We got Coach Andy Boone, head coach of Avoyelles High School. Look, if you're running back in Louisiana and you're moving to Avoyelles, that's the place to be because they don't throw the ball. They run the ball. You can be one of 6. And Coach said off the air last year they had You had 2 or 3 1,000-yard rushers?
3.
3, and a 900-yard rusher.
And an 800-yard rusher.
So almost 4 at 1,000 yards each.
Yeah.
And your star who came on today, Carlos, was not even healthy for most of the year.
He ran the ball for 3 games. He ran a little bit one other game, but that was it.
Y'all control the clock. A lot of opponents have had less than 30 reps on offense in a game. Your defensive guys don't have tackles, even like you got Carlos, because you're not on the field much.
Right.
One game stick out to you that
Got
we're
a couple
team.
games that stick out. We played Lutcher a few years ago. You know, Lutcher High School won
Bulldogs,
state that year.
yeah.
Won state. We had a 14-minute drive on them. That's how they didn't beat us 60-0. We held the ball the whole
You had a
game.
quarter drive.
We had a quarter, and we went the first quarter and 2 minutes into the second quarter.
What's the coach doing on the other side?
Well, look, he told me after the game, he's like, because we were the number 32 seed, they were the number
I remember
1.
that.
And he was like, everybody thinks we're going to blow them out. He said, but reality set in really quick between the fans. They were all like, what's going on?
This was in
here?
Lutcher.
That was
Packed
in Lutcher.
house.
Yeah, so that one stood out. Those kind of things help you when you're outclassed. I mean, they had LSU guys all over the field.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those games, you know, you're going to stay close by doing that. And we had a Red River game a few years ago where they only ran 3 plays the first half. We recovered a couple of onside kicks, and we ran 42 plays in the half.
Well, last year, y'all have always made the playoffs under you.
Yeah.
I mean, always. Second round's been tough.
Yeah.
Last year, y'all win your first second round game. Y'all get to the semis, play Manny, dogfight. I mean, tough. I mean, they've got great players. Like I said, they dress 100 players easy. You've got barely 30.
Right.
Well, how big is it that they've moved out of the district?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We know if we want to win state, we're going to have to beat them.
Go through them.
We're going to have to beat them. But, you know, we don't have to worry about them until we get
then.
to the playoffs. So, and that is a tough physical game. Look, we had kids got hurt in that game and played through the playoffs hurt because it's just what, you know, that Curtis kid bringing it. They all bring it. You know, Coach Curtis does an unbelievable, you know, job up there. So, you know, they're all in on what they do. So it's a tough physical game. But I don't have to worry about it during the district this year.
I want to mention this since we're talking to Manny, the last part of that. And I'm a fan of him, and I know you are. And I hope he stays in state and goes to LSU. Right now it's looking like Ohio State, USC, or Wisconsin, believe it or not. For Tackett Curtis, who's a 6'2", 220-pound specimen linebacker, quarterback for Manny, who's really a linebacker. You've seen him up close.
Yeah.
You think he's the real deal too, like myself.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a kid that likes to hit that much. I mean, he hits you like he can't get hurt. He plays with the reckless abandonment. I mean, he just, you know, he flies around like a missile hitting people. I know he knocked our helmets off 5 or 6 times in that semifinal game. I mean, you know, we got right back up and played, but he brings it.
He brings it. And they got good players, but he stands out. He's like I said, a missile when he
stands out. I mean, when he's in there, you know exactly where he's at. You're going to hear him. You don't have to see it. You'll hear it.
And that's Jess Curtis's nephew, the head coach.
Yeah.
And thank God he's a senior, huh?
He's a senior, fine. Yeah.
Right, coming up.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about Avoyelles High School. We're going to start talking about your players. We're going to start with Carlos, your running back, who's going to be back for his 5th year as a starter. I know that you're happy to have him back, Coach.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be right back. You're watching the Sports Scouter.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357. And have the time of your life. Gage has served Louisiana for over 40 years. Let Gage create a custom tailored solution for your business and become your partner in technology. Give them a call today at 225-753-4243 and help your business get better connected with Gage.
Welcome back. Lee Brecheen, your host. Hope you're enjoying the show. 12 years ago was the last time Avoyelles punted the football. That's remarkable. That's got to be a national record. I need to look that up. It's got to be up there. 12 years without punting the ball. Most famous sports native of Avoyelles, Mark Duper, played for Northwestern State. Went there on a track scholarship from Avoyelles. Never played football in high school. And the rest is history. He was a Dan Marino favorite receiver with Mark Clayton, Mark Duper. Tony Nathan that played for the Dolphins went to Alabama. I know Bama's not popular, Coach, but we said it 3 times on the show in Louisiana. But Dwight Stevenson, the center, is a Hall of Famer. That was a great mind. The Blackwood brothers, Coach, you remember those days. Mm-hmm. Before we get into what your thoughts on Duper, I want to mention we do have the semifinals for baseball in Louisiana this week. A lot of it starts on Thursday. Some are on Friday, Saturday. I think the state championship games, Jace told me, is on Saturday. It's a 1-game take-all semifinal. Whoever wins the 1 game goes to the state championship game. Sulphur hosts the public schools. Hammond is hosting the private schools. And the way I figured it out through all these baseball gurus, especially Jace telling me this, is that Hammond, Southeastern's field is going to be the higher classifications playing, and then St. Thomas Aquinas is hosting the smaller classifications. I'm going to do this like Speedy Gonzalez. Catholic High is playing Jesuit. Division I semis, it's going to be at Southeastern's field Thursday. Brother Martin, John Curtis, that's also on Thursday, same field. I'm going to go through division. Calvary Baptist is playing Covenant Christian from Houma. Ouachita Christian's playing St. Fred's out of Monroe. Division III, St. Thomas Aquinas has a home game, basically, Episcopal. St. Charles Catholic, Notre Dame McCrowley. U-High is playing Parkview Baptist in the semis. Vandy Catholic's playing St. Louis. Their coach was on our show 2 weeks ago, Brock Mathern, for football. Semis, Grand Lake, Logansport, Oak Grove, LaSalle, and Quitman, Converse, Shudrit, Anaco, Simpson, Hornbeck. These are Class C, B schools. Hicks, Calvin, Rosepine, and Manny. Rosepine's coach was on recently. Doral and Springfield, Berwick and Sterlington, Iota and Lutcher. Coach mentioned Lutcher earlier. North Vermilion, North DeSoto. Lakeshore, South Terrebonne from Houma. Lakeshore from Mandeville area. Sulphur, Santa Maud. Santa Maud's had a great year in Sulphur. Dutchtown and West Monroe. Are we surprised West Monroe's in a semifinal baseball game? I'm not. Getting back to Mark Duper, Coach. You had a little story about Mark talking about, you knew all about his track deal at Avoyelles, and he didn't even play football at Avoyelles.
Well, the reason he didn't play football at Avoyelles because then it was called Avoyelles High School, so it was no football there. That was
okay.
He just ran track there, and but he's come back to the school a few times. He came and did a little football camp with us, and and told us a bunch of stories and stuff. Showed us his rings, like his AFC or whatever championship, NFC championship rings, stuff like that. So. He's from Avoyelles there, so
he's the guy.
Hardly anybody knows that because, he didn't play football there.
Well, today they know outside of Avoyelles. I know they do locally, but not a big guy. He's probably 5'10",
small guy.
170, but he ran a 4.40. I think he ran a 10.400 meters,
Yeah,
Coach.
he was fast.
He's a legend at Northwestern State. And here's another trivia. His quarterback at Northwestern State, Bobby Hebert. Not bad, huh, Coach?
No, it's not bad.
And Gary Reasons was their linebacker who went to play for the Giants with Lawrence Taylor in the Super Bowl with Leonard Marshall from Franklin High School and LSU. I just throw things out as I remember.
LSU. A lot of Louisiana guys. A lot of Louisiana guys.
I'm not a big Sims fan, but Phil Sims was the quarterback for the Giants. People forget that. Coach, getting back to your school. We talked about, we're going to get to a lot of your players, but you only have 25 to 30. About 9 of these guys run the ball for you. You don't play a lot of defense, so most of it's stacked on offense. Your O-line is actually big. You got a 275-pound O-line, and last year you had a guy named Tay Augustine, 6'8", 400 pounds that graduated. But this year you returned Reginald Alexander, who's 6'4", 320. You got some size. And then Carlos came on earlier. What does it mean to have your big back, the piece of the puzzle back, and to keep him healthy, hopefully, this year?
Well, they all do. They all buy in exactly what we do. If you watch us practice, you'll hear me yelling. We're not dancing. We're not. They get one cut. That's it. You get one cut. There is no cutting, juking. We are run over. Look, the smallest one of our running backs, Josh Williams, is around 5'6", maybe 140, 150, and watch him in the playoffs here. He's running over people.
Tough.
He's, I mean, the way it's just an attitude, smash mouth attitude.
Well, Carlos is 250, and then you have Eric Waters at 200, 5'6".
Yeah, he's I call him bowling ball, and then knock the pins down. You know?
Preston Barnes, 190, 6 foot. Quez Augustine, 200, 6'1", not a bad size kid. And Arthella Augustine, 5'6", 150. And you got 2 big tight ends.
Yeah.
Stack them up.
I mean, again, the foot-to-foot, the double team, the down blocks. I mean, it's you got to sell out to stop it, and then every now and then we'll throw a little pass.
Do you use the word chip like they use now, chipping?
Yeah, I mean, we may say that, but most of the time is that guy's got to be moved out of there. So if it's a double team block, we pull somebody every play. We usually pull 2 linemen every play. It's what Washington used to call that tray.
Joe Jacoby.
Yeah, so we pull the backside guard and tackle almost 90% of the time. So what's happening is we're getting our fullback, our quarterback as a blocker, and our 2 backside. So we're putting 9 people at the point of attack. So if you'll watch what we're doing, we're overwhelming the defense at the point of attack.
They called them the Hogs.
Right.
Mark May,
Yeah.
who does TV now, Mark May and Joe Jacoby, they were both 6'6", 320. Yeah. And that was scary pulling it. And John Riggins behind him,
Right.
who, by the way, was, 6'3", 230?
Big boy, yeah.
He was unbelievable. Coach, the O-line, they don't get enough credit. And we mentioned Reginald Alexander. You want to mention some more of your O-linemen? Just to get their names out?
Jordan Sego's one of our big tight ends. We got Reggie. Who's another one? Carlos. I mean, we got
Maddox.
Max Dufour. He's a 3rd-year starter at center.
Ethan.
Ethan Rusk. He's going to be one of our tight ends, our guard. Like you got to understand, most of our tight ends have lineman numbers, so we can move all these guys around. Doesn't matter. We can move them tight end to guard. You got Travis Cole. We have a freshman right now. Xavier Pryor. He's probably 6'2", 280. He's a freshman.
Yeah,
so
tight end.
All those guys, but he'll play some guard too.
Right.
Again,
the parts and pieces.
They can all move around. They all got to know different positions. So, we got some guys. They may not be the traditional linemen where they're going to kick and slide and pass block, but we're going to be able to block down. We're going to be able to hit some people.
Coach, I really hope you can get to the state title game and play Manny. I mean, I think that'd be great on turf. Be the best show on turf in the state. Be scared to see your guys on turf.
Well, I mean, that our goal is not just to get there. Our goal is to win. I mean, we want to win a state championship. We want that ring. I think right now this year we may have one of the best offenses we've ever had.
I want to promote your family because Wesley Boone, who's now a sportscaster in Bossier City.
Yeah,
give props out to him. Now I'm going to talk about your other son.
Well, Wesley was an all-state football player for me, and went to Southeastern, graduated from there, and went and worked for the San Francisco 49ers in their broadcast for high schools, and came back, and he's the sports director in Bossier. So, and he actually got to interview me when we went and played North Caddo.
Oh, there you go.
That was right there.
That was neat.
So, the sports is in our blood. I got another son that's been my defensive coordinator for 8 years.
Right out of high school.
Right out of high school. He's a teacher at Avoyelles High and does an unbelievable job with our defense.
He was coaching while in college for you.
He was coaching while in college. He was my head junior high coach his senior year.
Wow.
So he was out there coaching our junior high kids.
And you only have 3 teaching coaches, right,
I only
Coach?
have 3 other teaching guys, and we got some CECP guys. But they do a good job. They all buy into what we do. They're very loyal. They know they're going to hear a lot of stuff about what we do, but they're very loyal, and they buy into 100% what we do.
Last question for Coach before we go. Coach, tell everybody what it's like on a Friday night to play at Avoyelles home games.
Well, look, especially this last season, it was really a good atmosphere. The fans came out. Our administrators do a good job just backing us up, and the fans came out last year. That was easily probably one of the most exciting years. They traveled well. Normally we don't travel well, but we traveled really well last year, and I expect it to be the same thing this year.
Anything unique in the stands, or any like cowbells or anything like that?
No. I mean, some of them's dads are a little vocal to the referees. You hear that stuff, I can hear.
Jace mentioned earlier, but the only 2 offenses similar, but not like yours, is John Curtis and Haynesville. But when the John Curtis fans come out, they got like these milk cartons with like rocks in them or whatever, and they start moving them. You ever seen John Curtis play and they have that?
I've seen him play.
And that kind of gets in your head a little bit. And they run the ball not as much, but close to as much as you. And what would you like to say to those offenses?
Well, I mean, they
do a great job.
They do a great. I mean, look, they do a great job, and they got some really good players.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about us is we don't always have really good players. I mean, I'm not gonna. There's years where we're way, but what we do lets us compete. And I'll go back to that not punting. That is our biggest advantage is we don't punt.
But I'm gonna tell you what, you're up there, Coach, with Alton Red Franklin and JT Curtis as far as this offense. Now, they got all these state titles, and you're close, Coach, and I really hope that you can get one of those before it's over. You're still young.
I got another 9-10 years.
Yeah, you might, once you win one,
yeah,
they come in 2s and 3s, and but you deserve to have a state championship. I appreciate Carlos being on the show. You're running back. Great young man. And what do you think, before we go, his knowledge of the game? How does he know Mike Allstott? He wasn't even born.
Well, I mean, he's got a dad that has very knowledgeable of the game, and I think his mom also, too. He comes from good genes.
Good kid.
And, I mean, these guys now, it's all at their fingertips, YouTube. So they can get on there and they can actually see stuff that we could never see when we were younger. So he knows football.
He needs to check out Larry Zonka, John Riggins, and like we mentioned, Kristen Okoye, like Jay said earlier, from the Chiefs, had the best 5-year career at 265, 6'1".
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Thank you, Coach.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for making the trip all the way from Avoyelles. And, hey, home of Mark Duper. You know, they were the Mark Clayton and Mark Duper show with the Dan Marino. I was a fan of Dan Marino, the Miami Dolphins. I was a Don Shula fan back in the day. But we'll see you next week. Be sure to watch the show on YouTube. I want to thank Marriott Hotel on College Drive, all they do, Ralph Ney. Be sure to book a room there if you're a high school coach watching and you come into town. Or appreciate Superior Grill on Government Highland in New Orleans, Louisiana. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen.